that's good. We are officially live. Lisa, the only thing I'm gonna need eventually is for you to unmute them for me before you jump to the camera switching. Yeah. We have the actual time up there.
to Marriage Monday, everyone. This is part 3 of our series, It Still Takes a Village. And in this episode, we're going to talk about having a good marriage while you have teenagers at home. Our special guest hosts are Kevin and Nadene.
That's right. So if you have kids, young kids or elementary school kids, you know how busy life can be and kind of crazy a little bit, but very rewarding and exciting. But if you're married and you've got teenagers, well, that takes it to a whole new level.
That's true, but this episode is not about parenting. It's about having a great marriage. We know we have only a short time with our kids, 18 years for each of them, and we need to do all those things that set them up for success. But the greatest foundation that you can give your children is the example of a good marriage.
So if you've got young kids, why don't you go ahead and lean into this episode. Also participate in the chat, but get ready. You'll probably learn some things about what's coming in the future. If you're in the middle of being married and having teenagers, lean in and listen too. You'll probably learn something. And if you have already had the teens come and go in your marriage, congratulations. But this is where we need you to also be in the chat, talk about a little bit of some of your touchdowns and some of your fumbles as a parent, because we're all going to learn together, because it still takes a village.
Yes, so let's welcome Kevin and Nadene.
Thanks so much, Kevin and Lisa, and thanks to all of you for joining us for this episode. We're here to talk about marriage. It's that everlasting sleepover with your favorite weirdo in the world. But what happens when one or a few more join your party and then they hang around for a while?
And like many of you, we have been around the block. We've been married for a number of years.
Yeah.
And now with older kids, 2 teens and a preteen, they are now a part of our story. And it's a fun story.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun story. And the last 2 episodes of Marriage Mondays here, we have been talking about how to stay strong in our marriages. The first week we had the Alice's, and they talked about the kid-free stage. And then last week the Ramoses helped us out with the young kid stages of our marriage. And as you know, and as we've all been learning, it still takes a village.
It sure does.
Still takes a village. And so guess what? Tonight we are going to be that for you. We're going to help each other. We're going to learn together. We're going to grow together as we build our marriages.
You got it. So Kevin and I will ask the questions. Your job is to fill the chat with your best advice, your most honest answers. We want to hear your life hacks, your relationship hacks. Fill the chat with, just immortalize your wisdom this evening. And let's be that village for each other.
All right, sounds good. You ready to go?
Ready to go.
You guys ready to go? I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Question number 1. Here we go. We're going to learn from each other. We're going to have fun tonight. Question number 1. Which of these songs by Michael Jackson best describes your attitude towards PDA?
PDA. Can you remind everyone what that stands for?
PDA. Public displays of affection.
Gotcha.
All right, so which Michael Jackson song best describes that? Song number 1, Wanna Be Starting Something. Song number 2, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. And number 3, Just Leave Me Alone.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is a fun question.
Yeah.
This will get everyone's juices going, get them practiced using the chat. So I wonder, the P in PDA typically stands for public displays of affection, but what if that P stood for private?
That could
Right?
work. That could work. But the public display, like, I'm interested to seeing what you guys are going to say. If you're wondering over here, I'm going with song number 1, Want to Be Starting Something.
Okay.
Yeah. But I could also do, because there's a beautiful woman right here, I could also do
honey.
Don't Stop Till You Get Enough.
He flatters me, but thank you. I'll take it.
Okay, let's see what they're saying in the chat. Oh, Don't Stop. B,
I see a lot of
B,
A's.
Don't stop till you get enough.
Wanna be starting
Wanna
something.
be starting something.
Love it.
All of the above. Okay, so we got a crowd of A's and B's here.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that there isn't any Just Leave Me Alone.
Oh my
This
goodness.
is Marriage Monday,
or
right?
Beat It.
Yes.
That
yes.
wouldn't be good.
Don't stop till you get enough. Want to be starting something.
But
Love
you know, what's really, I think private or public, whatever your preference is, however you're wired,
Yeah.
you know, what's the real important thing is that you are making an effort to communicate interest in your spouse,
Yes,
right?
super important.
Yeah, and attraction to them. So privately or publicly, there's no right or wrong, but just, you know, be starting something. That's
All
what I
right.
would say.
Sounds good. Great job, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
We're gonna jump into it a little bit deeper here. That was just a warm up.
Okay.
But judging from this one and seeing the chat, it's lit already. Everybody's excited. We're looking forward to this. Question number 2.
Okay.
All right. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. As your teenagers start going to bed later and later, how do you find time for privacy and for sex?
This is a good one.
Oh yeah, we start off with one of the big questions.
Because I think at this stage of your marriage with teens, older kids, it does get more difficult. That's been our experience, right?
Yep, we got 2 teens and a preteen, all boys, and really good ears.
Oh my goodness. But not when I'm calling them for chores. But you know,
Yes.
let's not throw them under the bus. And I think smaller kids, they can be a little clueless. Mom and dad are more in control of their bedtime, so maybe
Yeah.
it's less of an issue, you know? But that idea of getting our time when the kids have gone to bed, like that's probably not even possible, practical, or wise at this stage.
Yeah, so we want to hear from you guys tonight. We're learning from each other. Let's see. Put a lock on your door.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
simple, it's practical. I think that's been repeated or said before.
Yeah, yeah.
Just lock your door.
Oh, there's another one. Turn up the TV. Turn it up real loud.
Oh, actually, I like that one. That's a
Yeah.
good practical. If you have a TV in your room, but maybe it depends on where you're getting busy, mom and dad.
Buy them headphones.
Early morning.
Early
while
morning.
they're all in La La Land.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Yep.
That's
Hopefully you
good.
don't wake them up while you're in La La
Oh
Land.
my. Oh my.
Send
Yeah.
them to the movies.
Send them out of the house.
If they're old enough.
All
yeah.
right. Go do some groceries.
Yeah, go ride your bike.
give
Sure,
me-
you can get extra time.
Go get some pizza. Don't ride your bike. Go for a long walk. Go for a long walk.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that there are no teens awake at 5 a.m. So again, that idea of just getting up before they do. So maybe you could combine all that stuff, right? Lock the door, get up early, and, you know, I think that's some of the instructions in some of those good old love songs anyway, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Great job. Okay.
Do you think we're ready for the next one? Let's try a third question with you guys.
Okay.
How do you help each other stay positive when dealing with challenges in your teen's life? This can be tough,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And our dynamic is, you know, you're more of a positive thinker. I'm more of a negative thinker. So this definitely has been an area where we've needed to rely on each other, more me on you to remain
Yeah.
positive, you know? And I think also sometimes those challenges can span a number of areas, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It could be stuff like bullying. It could be challenges with learning or challenges at school.
yep.
There's just a plethora of
Yeah.
things that.
Health challenges.
That too.
Yeah, so how do you deal with all of that?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look at the chat and see what is coming through.
Teamwork.
Teamwork. Yeah.
Keeping that in
Working
mind.
together.
Yeah.
Keep the end goal in mind. I like that.
Yeah, I do.
Sometimes it's easy to get caught up just in the moment.
Yeah.
And sometimes in the moment, there could be a lot of emotions that come with that. And so just looking down the road and saying, this is what the end goal is, this is what we're trying to accomplish. That's a great practical.
Yeah, and just ultimately, right, not losing sight of each other. That's something that we've had to keep in mind a lot. Like, we're a team, and we mentioned it at the beginning, kind of lightheartedly, but it is an us story, and we add to it, you know, with our kids. And so just not losing sight of that. That's what I get out of that. Keep the goal in mind and teamwork.
Yep. I'm seeing listening humbly, making sure to communicate and stay consistent in communication.
Yeah.
Prayer, of course. We always got to take it to the Lord in prayer. Absolutely. All right. Yep. Seeing lots of prayer coming through on the chat. Lots of listening and being patient and reminding each other we're on the same team.
Yeah. And I think too, like for us, it's been helpful, just even some self-awareness.
Yeah.
To realize that I need to rely on Kevin for that, so that it doesn't cause us to get at each other a little bit. You know, we can stay unified and focus on the need at hand.
And I think what comes with that too is lots of encouragement. Lots of encouragement. When it gets a little crazy at home, I like that one comment that was just said, you're a team. And so I know sometimes I really try to encourage you, lift up your spirits, and you do as well with me. And I know that helps me just to stay positive and stay motivated to keep going.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You see anything? Oh, yeah. Communicate. Keep working and remembering. Oh, my mom used to say this all the time. This too shall pass. And it will. Sometimes I'm like, it's taking its sweet time, though. You know, I wish it would hurry up.
Yeah.
But
It's
patience
true.
together, yeah, that'll make it work.
All right. Great job. Great job. Next question.
Okay.
How do you continue to nurture your marriage amidst competing priorities? Because you guys know as well as we do, when you get to this stage in your marriage with older kids, there's a lot of things that are competing for our time.
Yeah, I like that word nurture in there because it communicates just a lean in, you know, like you are making an effort to encourage, making an effort to care for. So what ideas do you have for how we do that with our marriage when there is so much that's competing for our energy, our attention?
What I like about that word nurture too is when I hear nurture, it's a process.
It's
you
true,
know,
yeah.
It's not just boom, a quick fix. It's a process that you're working on, that you're working together on. All right. I'm seeing in the chat, lots of grace.
Get time away.
Yep.
Tim Hortons date, plan time together.
That's a big one, isn't it?
It is.
Planning time?
Because those priorities, right, they're also really important. We could have work priorities. There's your parenting priorities.
Yep.
There's personal time and hobbies.
Yep.
Some of us, like as we get older, our parents are getting older. And so their care might require time commitment, might require financial commitment.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that when you're also trying to prioritize
And
your
then the other
marriage?
thing too, as kids get older, I'm thinking of sports, practices, tournaments, games.
Yep.
And maybe it's not sports, maybe it's a hobby, maybe your child plays an instrument or something of the nature where they're just out doing some extracurricular activities that can eat up a lot of time. And so I'm looking at the chat here, again, lots of dates and planning time and
schedule time. That's huge.
Yep. I've heard though with the scheduling time, it sometimes gets a bad rap because you want to feel organic.
Sure, but you also want to get it done. So I guess you got to pick, right?
Yes.
Voicing that your spouse is a priority, I think that's a good practical.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot, if we say it out loud, if we put it in front of ourselves, it reminds us and helps to guide our thinking, helps us to figure out how we're going to allocate energies.
There's some really good stuff coming in the chat. Remembering your spouse's needs and working on it. Always telling them that you love them and that you're there for them.
I love you, honey, and I'm here for you.
Hey, thank you, honey.
See, I'm putting these practicals, all this wisdom, to use right now.
Yep. Spending quality time. I know there's been a lot of spending dates, you know, the Tim Hortons and all of the creative things, but just that quality time is important. Creating experiences and making memories. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a lot of good stuff here, guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, I love this one at the bottom. Extending compassion when the spouse is being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you're in the midst of nurturing and trying to build and take care of your marriage, there's a lot of vulnerability and openness that comes. And when you think about nurturing, vulnerability is a big part of that.
Yeah, and so, that can get a little clunky. So yeah, being compassionate totally helps.
Absolutely. Great tips. I hope you guys are making notes. I mean, this is YouTube, so we'll always have it, in cyber world, but this is really, really good stuff. Let's move on to the next.
Okay.
To the next question.
So this is a would you rather question, all right?
Okay.
Would you rather spend $2,500 on a family vacation or time away just for you and your spouse?
I know my answer.
What's your answer?
It's pretty easy.
Well, I think this is something that a lot of us have to work out in our marriages, right? Because as soon as you start talking about money, or priorities, then, things might get a little bit, contentious, depending on what you value or what the need is at the time.
Yeah.
I know what our kids would say.
Oh, yeah.
For sure they want a family vacation.
Yeah, they want in. They want in.
But I think mom and dad have got to figure out what are the real needs in the family,
I know what the real needs. I know what the real needs are. You guys know my answer. I don't even have to say it. Right here, this is it.
Seriously.
This is it.
And we did do a bit of that in the last couple of years. And then we kind of made a promise to our boys because they started to feel it.
She made the promise, not me.
Okay, yeah.
But she made the promise.
Maybe you have this too in your marriage where one of you is a little bit of a softie, but they were starting to feel like they were missing out because they would see our pictures and want to come.
We bought them souvenirs.
Yeah,
we got
they got
them souvenirs.
T-shirts.
Yeah.
But, I said, okay, we won't leave you behind anymore. We'll start bringing you on the vacation. So we've had some family vacations, but if you had $2,500 now, what would you do?
Yeah.
I see both. I want to do.
You guys are hilarious.
But there may be something to that.
I'm looking at the screen. I'm seeing bye kids, sorry kids, Paris, here we come. But you know what? I am seeing a bit of time away with kids.
For sure.
Get away with the kids. I'm seeing someone say, I want to do both.
Well, I'll say this.
Okay.
There are cruise lines and resorts that certainly could create the space for both, right? Mom and dad can have their time, and kids can do, what they want, different activities. So maybe you can have the best of both worlds if that's what you want. Yeah. That's not quite how we set it up.
I think this question is a slam dunk, though, for leave the kids.
Hey.
Leave the kids at home, or leave them back. Sounds like everybody online tonight, the majority is
bring them souvenirs. Can we all agree? We'll bring them souvenirs. Okay, good.
Souvenirs.
They'll have to be satisfied. Okay, so how about this one, guys? When your teen starts to test, and you know what that means, when they start to test you or your spouse,
okay,
how do you help each other not overreact?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
How do you support each other when the temperature in the home starts to rise?
Because here's the truth. In those situations, generally what we see is one of the spouses can get triggered.
Yeah, more easily than the other one.
Yes.
Right. And so I think, again, like even some of that self-awareness, right? So how do you manage that? How do you also not turn on each other? Because maybe even calling it an overreaction might cause the other person to get defensive. So how do you, just keep adulting and manage the situation so that you don't lose sight of what's most important?
This is a tough question because there's a lot of emotion, that comes with it, especially when your child is testing and they're looking to size you up. These are the moments where we really, really need each other. But let's see what our team is saying in the chat here. These are good ones. A hand on the arm. So sometimes that
physical
touch.
signal.
That physical, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Have each other's back first. Again, just, that hard, that bedrock foundation, that conviction that no matter what, supported. My spouse has my back. Love it.
I really like that idea of just that physical reminder in the moment. Even as you did it just now, just the warmth of your hand was like a comfort, even physically. So I think some people, that people use safe words. I think something like that, a gesture like that would probably be really helpful. I'm going to take note of that myself.
Nice.
Try not to interrupt each other. Huge, I'm an interrupter. I'm so sorry.
Love you.
So thank you. That's a good one. Don't interrupt.
Make eye contact with the spouse. Again, more touch. Again, supporting each other. I think you guys are getting it. And of course, you guys have been there, right? Like what family has kids where this has never happened?
Oh, please. Everyone's had to deal with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think this is another important piece of just supporting each other and being there for each other, especially in those tough moments. I'll also say this really quickly. There can be times where the child and the parent are at it, and sometimes the spouse can inadvertently take the side of the child in that moment.
Okay.
Which can be very, very challenging. How, in these situations, can couples remember that they're a team?
Again, I think just even that physical, you mentioned it, right? I'm here for you. I love you. I think that simple touch, it doesn't put the child off. It helps you to stay connected, even lightly physically in the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that answer that was offered.
I think one of the things that I've learned in a situation like this is to be objective and not take sides. I know in the past, because I know you really well and I know my kids really well, and there's moments where I would observe the situation and I'm in my head, who's right and who's wrong.
Oh, gotcha.
And I can easily forget that it's not about who's right and who's wrong in this moment, but really supporting my spouse in that situation. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, thanks for that.
So great stuff, guys. Lots of we're supporting each other, trusting each other, trusting your spouse in that moment. Excellent. Good stuff. All right. Let's keep going.
We have another question, and this one is with blended families in mind, more so. So how can you remain unified as a couple when the kids aren't getting along like you hoped? So not completely unrelated to the question before, but when you think about a blended situation where, wife may come in with 1 or 2 kids, husband may come in with 1 or 2 kids, and it's not just the 2 adult lives, it's the kids together in the same home. How do you manage as a couple to stay unified when it's my child and your child that's that's having a conflict? It's, as opposed to our kids. That can be tricky, and I can imagine how that would put a strain on a marriage, because there is stuff I suppose you're unlearning and learning at the same time. I can imagine. And again, you're building family, you're bringing families together. Yeah.
So that's a process. That doesn't happen overnight.
I was just going to say that, as you said, building, it is a process. It doesn't happen, in the flash of an eye. With all the intentions and all the hopes you have, that there's still stuff to work through.
Yeah. I'm looking at the chat here. Knowing when and how to engage and when not to. Okay, I think that's a very, very good practical. Settling together, making sure to show ample respect in the home. Okay, I'm hearing that.
Yeah.
What else do we have here on the chat?
Well, while we're looking at the chat, I remember that movie. I mean, it goes by the same name, Blended. I don't know how many of you saw that, but it was a family comedy. Terry something, I can't remember the actor's name now, but they poked a little fun at it, but there you could even see play out some of the difficulties with, a blended family. And I mean, they figured their stuff out in 2 hours. But, you know, when stuff is happening in the home, how do you guys stay unified and not cause maybe the kids' natural rifts? Because which household of kids doesn't have fights anyway? Kids are kids. They're gonna have disagreements. But how do you, when you're blending 2 new sets of kids with each other, how do you stay unified?
Yeah. Well, one thing that comes to mind is making sure as a family you get time together to talk, to talk about boundaries, to talk about expectations, as we use that word building, to talk to each other about how to grow together, how to understand each other,
Yeah.
giving lots of grace as you grow together as a family. I think
Yeah.
those are important. That communication piece is important.
And I think too, fun. Just,
Yeah.
just taking time to have fun together. See to the other kid's viewpoint, not just your kids. I think that's a great way to try to
Yes.
level things out, right? Not just siding with your own.
Yeah.
I suppose that's what I'm getting from that response. If your spouse's child feels like you have their back, or you can see the validity of their point, or how they feel, how their feelings matter.
Yeah.
I think that would help create bridges in the home too. Thanks for that.
And I think as a couple, just continuing to keep the lines of communication open. The reality is it is, this spouse's kids and this spouse's kids. But as a married couple, just keeping that mindset as a family, it's our kids. And even in that language, our kids, as opposed to my kids and your kids. You want to just keep the message, not only as a couple, but in your family, it's our kids, it's our
Well, I
family.
see that togetherness there. And what's in the chat, organizing some fun times to break the tension, and then having expressions of value, where it's like a group hug, where everyone's together collectively. Talking privately and reassuring each other as a couple that we're not going to give up, and that you love them all equally.
And I think even verbalizing that, lots of encouragement, lots of verbal love. So when those challenges happen, there's a foundation there that the kids can be secure, that you guys in your marriage, they can feel secure as a team, that they're weathering these things when they happen.
Awesome.
So
I think we're ready for the next one.
Next one, here we go. Okay. How do you as a couple decide where to allocate your money in terms of investing in education, recreation, retirement, etc.? And when it comes to money, at this stage, as married folk with big kids, there's a lot of ways that we can invest our money.
And I think maybe for some couples, you're like, we got this. It's easy for them to make these kinds of decisions. But I think for some other couples, this is a little more difficult for them to figure out together. And it can be ticklish. We talked about this before. I think a couple of weeks ago it was, do you have joint accounts or do you have separate accounts? And it made me giggle because I remember
blew up on that.
All the talks we had, all the early fights we had about money. But when it comes to talking about money management, do you value things the same way? Do you have the same risk tolerance? You got to manage all that stuff.
I can be more on the risk side. You're more
a little more risk averse over here.
Yes.
So how do you get on the same page though? Because it affects what you're willing to live without right now, so that you can hopefully get what you need in the
later
future.
on.
But you have to decide on that together. How do you do that?
Okay.
Planning.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank
Again,
you. Yep.
simple, just planning.
Talking together.
And that together piece is important. I think maybe to have a lack of communication around something that is so important and doesn't involve money might be a way to, light a fire against your own haystack. So having those conversations together, deciding together. And I think, again, if it's not, super time sensitive, just taking your time to make sure you both feel great about that. So I appreciate that point. Talk together, plan together.
I love what's also in the chat here. Making sure that you guys understand each other's priorities. And making sure that the priorities are in sync and aligned with each other. Okay.
And it's okay to have different priorities as long as big stuff isn't getting dropped, right? Because you balance each other out. You have your negative, your positive, your fun, your uptight. You just balance each other out, but figure it out together.
Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
You don't ever want to be in a position where you're doing things and you're not communicating and sharing things with your spouse.
I love this question. Hey, we're asking the questions, okay? I'm just kidding. Is massaging my feet, Does massaging my feet count as recreation? Sure it does.
Yeah.
Sure it does.
I'll say, let's do
It's
it.
a great question.
All right. Well, and guys, with the theme of money here, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, there can be something funny with money. When we're not on the same page and we're talking about the future, if we're not communicating, that really does open the door to mismanagement of money with regards to investing for your retirement or kids' education or sports. The other thing, too, that I was thinking about, Hun, is when it comes to what we invest, when it comes to what we put away, sometimes we can be thinking right now. Sometimes we could be thinking a couple months or a couple years, and sometimes we could be thinking way down the road. And I think there needs to be a little bit of that as we talk about money and are making decisions on where we're going to allocate our funds.
As you say that, I see a point on the screen, a joint account. Just have a joint account for that money. And then maybe you can decide later and make a decision out of a pool that you've saved together over time.
Yeah. Talking through the here and now, right? Talking through the here and now, and maybe talking through a couple of months to a year or a couple of years. And then you have goals for 5-10 years down the road. And I know we have had these kind of discussions when it comes to our money and what we invest, what's going on now, what's going on in 5 years, and what's going on in 10 years.
Yeah. Get advice from financial advisors.
Yeah.
Thank you. Really important point. Because if you can't figure it out, maybe someone can help to guide you through that process. You can stay on the same page no matter what. Thank you for that. Yeah. Make consistent time for talks about finances. It's just, I'm seeing a lot of communicating, a lot of do it together, and if you need help, get help. And another point, maybe it takes time. I like that idea of having a joint account so that you can decide out of that what to do with it, but to be actively saving as you go along.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well done. This is good stuff.
I know,
I'm
we're
learning.
having a lot of fun.
I'm
Thanks,
learning.
guys.
We're building it together. It still takes a village. All right.
Next question.
Next question. Here we go. When you've been married for a long time, how do you ensure you're thriving and not just surviving as a couple?
Especially when it has been a long time, right? The honeymoon phase is over.
Yeah.
We're not in the first installment of It Still Takes a Village, even though it still takes a village. You know, you're a little further along. Maybe there's some familiarity, a little contempt. How do you manage that? Sometimes folks are just hanging in there. And I think maybe sometimes, depending on the situation, that's okay, because at least you're both still present. You know, sometimes that's all you have energy for. You know, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. So, you know, maybe that's where you're at, just surviving. But how do you move to thriving? What ideas do you guys have? What can you share about taking it to that next level together as a couple?
You guys know as well as us, it's a never-ending journey in keeping things fresh, keeping things vibrant, continuing to build on the foundation of love that you've had for many years. I have friends who are been around and married a lot longer than we have, and it's amazing to, when we spend time with them, to hear from them that they are still discovering things about each other that they've never known before. And they're still learning, they're still growing in their love. So inspiring. And I think that is something that we all want in our marriages, where we're continuing to thrive and not just survive.
Well, I see some great answers in the chat. Try not to take life so seriously.
Yes.
Have more fun. Share laughter. Share some jokes. I love that. I think sometimes we can, right? We take ourselves too seriously, and then we get a little static. We get a little bit stuck.
Do the things that you used to do in your early years of marriage. Remember when you would chase around each other all around the house and tickling and all that kind of stuff? And you know, that led to other stuff. And
private DA.
Yes. But I know you've got, you know, the kids now, so we got that. But remember, you send them out to the store.
There's forgiveness.
Yes.
There's forgiveness I'm seeing in the chat, so I just didn't want to lose it there. And taking time to renew your relationship. Get to know this new person in front of you. Take 10 minutes even a day to talk about what they're feeling.
Yep.
I love that.
Don't sweat the small stuff.
Yep.
Laugh a lot. Stay young
Ask questions.
at heart.
You know what I'm seeing come out a little bit is
What's that?
this idea of staying curious about the person. Because, you know, if you've been together for a long time, maybe you think you know them.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing in the chat, even the word new, this new person, you know, do the stuff you did when they were new. See, someone said, hold her hand, look into her eyes, tell her you love her. That's a lot of stuff that happens in the newness of a relationship.
Yep.
But I love that idea of doing that even when things have gotten a little old or when you've been married for a longer time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Encourage, praise each other often. Love
Watch
it.
Marriage Monday sessions. I love it. That is excellent advice. We need to put an asterisk next to that. Absolutely. Marriage Mondays will help.
Oh, I'm seeing one person. It's awesome when you're an empty nester. We are playful with each other. We've gotten over ourselves and we make big of everything.
Nice.
I like that.
Planning special times.
Yes.
I remember some of ours. Those have been really special to share. Encourage and praise each other more often. Sometimes that can get lost, right? Again, that idea of familiarity and contempt over time. Never take them for granted. Snuggle.
Yeah.
What else are you seeing in the chat?
And, you know, here's the thing, too. You know, when I look at the chat, I think a lot of things that we're seeing there, it's not necessarily we're learning anything new, but the question we have to ask ourselves this evening is, are we doing them? Are we doing them? Because what can happen is when you are together for a long time, familiarity does breed contempt. And it's very easy over time to quote unquote become roommates.
Right.
And you're no longer building and growing, you're more functioning.
Right.
Does that
in
make
your
sense?
Marriage, yeah. But I think a lot of what you guys have put in the chat, and I hope you guys are really taking notes here, it speaks to the antidote for what you just talked about.
Yeah.
You know, take life easy together. Spend time together. This is a lot of really good stuff you guys are putting in the chat. Thank you so much. It really is taking a village to get all of this stuff out, but we're hearing from even empty nesters who are helping us
Yes.
with some real great nuggets. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for that.
Be intentional. Be intentional. We said it earlier. Schedule it. In this world that we live in now with big kids, with teens and preteens, you have to plan. You have to schedule it in and make those moments count. Yeah. We plan a lot.
I mean, we do.
Yes.
We do. We have to, because the house gets busy. It's pretty
Yeah.
hectic. And if we don't plan, it doesn't happen. And I am one of those, like, oh, you know, I want it to be spontaneous and romantic. I want you to read my mind. I don't know if any ladies out there can can relate to that, but we've got a plan or it won't happen. And the actual happening, that's what's most important to me and for our relationship. So we do that. We plan.
Yeah.
Speaking of, let's move on to the next question we have planned for this evening.
All right, let's do it.
So this is a fun one. How many of you talk in code around your kids? And you know what we mean, right?
Oh, yeah.
You have
Yep.
a special word for sex so that your kids don't know what you're talking about.
Yep. Hey, honey, you thirsty? Are you thirsty, honey?
my gosh.
I can get a drink. I can get a... All right. Yeah.
And you know what he's talking about, right? But I think what's funny is over time, maybe your kids catch on, but they're too embarrassed to let you know. I don't know if that's happened to anyone yet. I want to live blissfully in this little space where I think the kids don't know our code words yet.
Yeah.
But we absolutely speak in code in the house.
Cold words and actions. It's a moving target. You know, when we get our time, of course, you know, the door's closed and all that stuff. But when the kids realize the door's closed all the time, that could
And
be
locked.
that could be a dead giveaway.
That's yeah.
I remember this one story. A friend of mine was telling me that his kids figured out that when the door was locked and closed, that's when they were having sex. And the child went to the door and spoke to her sibling. They're making sex. They're making sex. They're making it. So
It's so funny.
you got to figure it out.
And the
Code
parents, I
words,
guess they didn't care.
actions. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what code words do you guys use in the chat?
And you know, maybe sometimes it's not always about sex. Oh, I see someone say in the chat, we talk in a different dialect. Love it.
Oh,
You
okay.
could bust some patois in the house, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that would help us. But no, some of the songs, you know, they might catch us red-handed.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's
That's
not
true.
always about sex, right, guys? Like, I've heard this. Sometimes in a home, code for I am fuming right now is, I'm gonna go to the store and get some milk.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
your spouse knows that you need some space, but the kids aren't alarmed. There's no yelling, there's no throwing of anything, but it's understood. Mom
Yeah.
and dad have got to work on their marriage, and mom and dad are privy and the kids maybe are not. So do you use that one too? Do you go to the store for milk because you're upset?
Yeah. I'm seeing speaking in different languages. One person said our boys broke the code.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Okay. You got to create new ones. You gotta,
Yeah, seriously, you gotta stay ahead of them.
A lot of yes, we speak in code. Yeah, a lot of we use our own language. So that works.
Yeah.
That works.
Just don't teach them the advanced language that you might be using, because then they will break the code. It'll be given away.
Yep. It's interesting. Here's one note in the chat. We speak very openly about everything with them. We say it's mom and dad's time. They know not to ask more, or they'll get the true answer.
Oh gosh, I don't think they want that.
No, they don't. They don't want that. They don't want that. All right. Do not disturb sign could work. Ah.
It did for that couple.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that bold. I mean, we should not give away our secrets just in case our children decide to watch this episode. So
Yes.
we speak in code, yes. We act in code, yes. Will we share that? No, not right now.
No.
But glad to know we have some company.
Yes. All right. Next question. At this stage of your marriage, what quality do you appreciate the most about your spouse? It's been a long road. It's been a long journey. You've been together for so many years. You've had the highs, the lows, and the in-between. You're still together. You're still growing. You're still in it. You're building your family. What quality do you appreciate most in your spouse? We want to hear from you on that one.
And I think this is a good way to start, winding down a little bit, because if anyone's out there and you've been elbowing your honey over the last few questions, then this is a way to turn some of that around.
Yeah.
Put something nice in the chat, encourage them. What have they grown in?
Yeah.
Is it something new? Maybe what you appreciate about your spouse is enduring and endearing, so it's not so new.
Yeah.
We're seeing loyalty,
Yes.
patience. Love that.
Organized and diligent,
Beautiful.
humble, sense of humor,
You need that.
happiness and joy.
Oh.
Oh, man. As you guys are typing this, make sure you're saying it to each other.
Right.
Yeah, not just I'm getting it in
Make
the
it a
chat.
nice moment.
Yeah, maybe give each other a kiss right now, or a high five, or a hug. Something.
A high five.
some kind of PDA, right?
Actually, yeah.
Hey.
So we're putting that into practice.
Yeah.
His spirituality, always
Amen.
growing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Well,
A family man, caring.
what do you appreciate about me?
I honestly am so grateful. I'm so grateful for your humility and for your patience with me.
I got two for you. You
Okay.
are thoughtful. This woman is thoughtful, guys. She thinks about any and everybody. Details. Always thinking, always planning. You think about us. You take care of us. You
Thank
nurture,
you.
our marriage, and you are extremely loyal.
Thank you. Well, yeah.
I
yeah.
know you have my back and you fight for us, and I'm thankful for that.
Thanks, babe. Sought transparency,
Yeah.
strength of character, integrity.
Leadership.
Oh,
He
being
takes care of
giving.
me. Yep.
Oh, she is still here, married to me, even after all these years of my wretchedness.
That sounds like lots of grace in that home.
Yeah,
Lots of grace. Hey.
spontaneity and fun. I'm seeing a lot of fun in the chat. That's great.
Yeah, you got to.
Joy,
You have to.
happiness, spirituality, stability.
Yes.
That's a huge one. These are really great responses.
Yeah.
And I like that, as we're sharing these together, we're also, as Kevin said, sharing them with our spouse. So hopefully that's helping to create an environment where you will be speaking in code soon. If your kids have not yet gone to bed, and
Yes.
you'll be able to figure that out.
Sending them away.
Yeah, or set up your 5 a.m. Just ahead of whatever else you have going on in the day tomorrow.
Absolutely.
But these are really great, dependable, generous.
And the thing that I want to share too that I think is important, take a look at these words and express them to each other, but remember them. Don't just take this as a moment where we put some nice words down on a screen. Remember that tomorrow. Remember that in a couple of days. Remember that in a couple of weeks. These are the qualities that you love about your spouse. And share that with them often. Build them up and encourage them. You do that with me often, which I appreciate.
Thank you.
Yes. All right.
So we have time for a few more questions. And I think because we've had some people self-identify as empty nesters, this one will be for you.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on letting adult kids move back into your empty nest?
Oh.
And I'm stressing the your because for some of you, your kids are older, they've gone to college, university, maybe they've moved out into a life of their own.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know. It's usually that post-secondary time, though, when they're trying to figure things out. But will you let them back into what has become your sanctuary, your love nest?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Or what's been your experience with that? And how's that gone? What would you say?
That's a good one. Because when the kids move back, I can imagine that changes the vibe.
It does. Maybe you're not chasing each other around the house. Well, you can't, right? Because now you have bigger, aware kids who've broken the code that are in the house. But it can affect how you enjoy your space and time together,
Absolutely.
When you've adjusted after 15, 16, 18 years of having them in the house. So would you? What are we seeing in the chat?
Wow. Question marks. It's a good question. Yep, it sure does change the vibe.
It was a need. I've seen that. They did do
Someone
it.
said sent them to grandma.
Well, hey,
Can't
grandma
move
has
back.
space and she wants
Can't
the company. Why not?
Yeah.
The more, the merrier for a short period of time. I think that's the
That's a good one.
Yeah, that important clause that's in there. It sure does change the vibe. Yep.
Wow. Depends on the reason. Okay, so a lot of conversation and dialogue need to happen before we get to that place.
Depends
Gotcha.
on the reason, and that's true. Like maybe your kids have had their rent jacked, or one of them lost their job, or there's some situation that requires them to live with you, and it's better for them to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Oh, we got a microphone?
We've got a mic. Oops.
All right, all right.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes.
Patience.
All right. I think we got time for one more question.
I think so. Do you want to take it?
Yes.
Okay.
One more question. Okay. Which of these sitcoms best reflects your marriage household dynamic?
Okay.
The Cosby Show, the movie Cheaper by the Dozen,
That was a good one.
or The Brady Bunch?
I like those shows.
Yeah.
Those were fun. So the Cosby Show, do you want to flesh that out a little bit? I mean, I think it was a pretty popular show. I think you'd have to have lived under a rock
No, yeah,
to not know.
Yeah, they know Heathcliff and Claire.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So they were like a upper middle class couple with five kids.
Yeah.
5 kids.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of fun, a lot of life lessons. The kids got a little testy sometimes, but that was like the traditional nuclear family.
Yeah.
Cheaper by the Dozen.
12 kids? What was that? So,
Chaos.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Fun.
But mom and dad had to work through a lot, plan a lot, and figure things out. You know?
And then Brady Bunch.
Blended.
Yes.
Yep, 3 boys, 3 girls, and so they had things to figure out too. They didn't have, as far as I can recall, many big issues, but you know, you have your, you know, upper middle class, working family, mom, dad, professional with 5 kids. You've got your really big family that requires everybody pitching in, and then you have a blended. So which one is you?
All right, the Cosby Show. Oh, a lot of Cosby shows.
Actually,
a lot of Cosby shows.
It's hard not to relate to the Cosby Show, but we do see a cheaper by the dozen in there.
Yes.
With a huge cry laughing face, so I get it. Mm-hmm. The A-Team.
The A-Team.
I'm sitting here trying to figure out what that means.
Yeah.
The A-Team. Ace or Face. Face was his name. Mr. T with the chains.
Yeah,
so just a bunch of characters. That's what I'm getting from that one.
Action, non-stop action, non-stop action. Love it, love it.
Little House.
Little House on the Prairie.
On the Prairie.
Okay.
What a wholesome show.
Okay. All right, all right. More Cosby. I think the Cosby Show wins it.
I think so. And, you know, it was a pretty relatable show.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us could see ourselves in at least one of the characters, or would have aspired to have that kind of dynamic, because they were they represented a pretty special kind of family dynamic. Mm-hmm. It worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. This has been good.
It has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I appreciate how this village has come together to provide so much wisdom.
Yes.
And, you know, great nuggets of advice, practicals that we can put into practice.
That's the big part,
away.
putting it into practice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've learned some stuff tonight. I know there's things I'm going to be putting into practice. Really, again, just appreciate that idea of, you know, putting out the hand, making sure you plan. You know, we tried to have a little bit of everything, the blended family, the financial questions, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, thank you so much for everything that you've put in the chat. I think central to everything that we have heard from you tonight, from our village, is just don't forget each other. That team idea. Blended or not, working through financial issues or not, kids to come in the house again or not, making those kinds of big decisions, little decisions, fun decisions together.
Yeah.
Because it is about your marriage.
You think it, you say it, you show it, you live it, you express it, and you receive it. And if you can hold on to those, you're gonna be all right. And don't forget Michael Jackson. Don't forget Michael Jackson.
Starting something? Is that what you're saying?
That's right. I want to be starting something. Mama say, mama sa, mama kusa.
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna be starting something tonight.
I told him not to sing. He is incorrigible.
I couldn't keep it in.
I think he's starting something right now, actually. Pray for me, people.
Yeah.
But it's been wonderful just being here with you for this episode.
Yes.
We hope that you've gotten lots out of it. Again, because this is going to be available for us afterwards, you can go through, if you've missed any points that you wanted to write down, look at the questions and take some notes of the answers that were given. And again, like some of these aren't, you know, this answer is for today, forever and always. As needs change, as family dynamics change, as you change as a couple, as individuals, maybe some of those answers and approaches to some of these questions will change as well. Mm-hmm. But we just wanted to say thanks, everyone, for joining us for this episode. And I think it's time to throw it back to Kevin and Lisa.
All right.
Well, thank you, Kevin and Nadene. That was incredible. You are an amazing couple. We're so grateful for your hearts, your wisdom. You're an example to us. You have a great family, but your marriage is thriving always, and you make each other a priority. Thank you for the great job you did tonight and really helping all of us.
Thanks as well to all of you who are with us live streaming here in our chat in real time. So grateful for all of you and the good wisdom that you put in there and comments, even the fun and funny ones. We're grateful for you all. And so that ends our 3-part series. It still takes a village. Let's just remember to stay together in our marriage and stay super models for our kids and also to stay in this community, helping each other out in every way we can. So we'll see you again soon. This is Marriage Monday. Until the next time.